Hey YouTube, welcome to Elite. So you just bought this game. It's a brand new game. You may have seen it as #1 seller on Steam there for a bit. I don't know if it still is right now when you're looking at this, but it sold a lot of copies in the first day and caused a lot of confusion for new people. There is a training section. I highly recommend you go through the tutorials first. They're going to cover some of the basics. They go over how to do some of the basic things like targeting and attacking and things like that. Docking. Play the docking one 5 or 6 times. You're still probably going to crash. It's going to happen. Don't worry about it. You have that starter ship for a reason. So take the free Sidewinder and do what you can with it. Get a little practice under your belt. But you've got done with all those. Now what? Now you're sitting here just like I am. I even went and grabbed a Sidewinder so that way we have a point of comparison to look at. What do I do now? Oh my gosh, there's literally nothing that telling you to do anything at this point. You're just in the game, you're sitting here, and there's no instruction. So that's what this video is going to be about. I'm going to kind of give you guys a little bit more information than what they've given you in even the default data that they provided and all those wonderful tutorials. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. First things first. I'm going to throw a link down below. It's going to have a keypad guide. It's going to be basically just a little single image. It's going to be a keyboard overlaid with some of what the different keyboard commands do. That's assuming you're using mouse and keyboard. I don't. So I'm not going to really go too much into buttons. You guys can look through the buttons if you need to find a button you need, or you can use the link below to find the exact buttons that you need. What I am going to focus on is what you need to do in the game once you've got your buttons figured out for yourself. So that said, I recommend you assign a head look. That gives you the ability to kind of look around within. If you're using mouse, then it'll move you around with the mouse in the same way that I do it with my joystick. But it lets you look around. You can look at the areas over here. So you see you have a keyboard over here on your left. You look up just a little bit from that. There's one pad that you have. You have your center console. This looks differently depending upon your situation. We'll get into that more later. And then you have another one over here on the right. Now, in your main view area, you have up and right. It's going to provide you with information. I have no new information right now. And then up and left, this is going to be all of your communications. So this is where you get your wing invites. This is where you see your friends are on, things like that. Now, there are shortcut keys that you can hop to each one. Again, if that's your playstyle, feel free to use them. I recommend head look because it makes it easier. Once you get in that habit too, you can be like, oh, is there a guy above me? You can look up, see around you. It makes life easier. If you have like an Oculus Rift, this is completely intuitive for you because you literally just kind of glance and there's your stuff. So go ahead and get in that habit right now. So we'll get back to some of these in a minute. Right now, the first thing I want to cover, what is very important for you as a new player. Do not stay in the starting area. That is literally the worst thing you can do. People who are legitimately playing there may decide to attack you. People who are new and don't know any better themselves may decide to attack you. You need to get out of the starting area as soon as possible. I would recommend that you pick a new system to go to. It doesn't have to be anything huge or fancy or amazing. Just something that's not in that immediate starting area. Me personally, I recommend heading for just pick some random spot out in the cloud of space and head that way. Maybe there's a name of something that strikes you as interesting or funny. Whatever. Head that direction. Don't go to any of the common areas. Don't go to Love. Oh my gosh, there's so many people that go there. You want to avoid other players initially. Not that you need to be afraid of other players. There's plenty of people on this game that will have a lot of fun with and you'll do great with. The problem is there's just enough people that'll mess you up to make it where you're not having fun in the game. So, first things first. How do I get out of the area I'm in? So, what you want to do, go ahead and go over here to the left. You're going to see that you have a galaxy map option. We're going to go ahead and go into the galaxy map. So let's go ahead and I'll pull that up. All right. So now we have our map up. This is just one of the areas that I play in. I know a lot of people that also play in this general area. It's literally just some random system I headed towards. What I did was I went into the settings here for navigation in the view. Change it over to map. And you see all these different things start popping up. What you're looking for initially is something that's higher tech. So you can take a look at the different trade routes or whatever, or you can adjust it to show the different types. So economy, and then what I did was high tech is what I initially looked for. Find a good high tech place that's nearby you. So literally, I just went through and did this. Unchecked all of them. So now, as I look around, see all these dots here, these are high tech locations I can go to. So pick one, find one that works for you, lock in on it. You want that to be your home. That's going to be your temporary place that you mostly go to looking for things. So from there, you found your place. You said, hey, you know what? I'm going to go over here at this place, this distance away. So let's say you pick, I don't know, let's find a nice good one here. Again, I'm not saying you should go here. You want to select this middle option here, plot route. So if it says route unavailable, your ship can't make the necessary jumps to follow there. You may have to go to a different location slightly off of where you're currently at. Again, adjust up and down as necessary. You can slide up and down. There's a lot of places to pick from here. So I recommend something that's at least 100 plus light years away from where you're starting. So here we are. There we are. I can plot there. So if you look, all I did was select where I wanted to go. And then I select this middle option, plot route. Now it tells me how to get there. Now I recommend you leave it on the default. Yes, you can get there quicker and shorter jumps if you go to one of the settings. You don't want to do that initially. Don't burn your fuel. You'll see why in a second. You're not going to have that big of a fuel jump to begin with. So you've got your route planned. You know where you're going to go. It'll give you a pre-calculation over here. You see on the left-hand side. It says where my destination is and approximately how many jumps it's going to take for me to get there, about 18 plus. So now I know where I'm going and I have that rough goal. Now, I'm going to have more money than you guys because I've been playing a lot. I literally just got this Sidewinder to show you a little bit about what we're doing here. So here's what you're going to do next. Go into your Starport Services. It's going to say that you have something like 1,000 some odd credits of memory service. It's been a long time since I had that little, so I don't remember how you start out. I believe it's 1,000 though. So from here, go ahead and go into outfitting, and this is literally a default Sidewinder. There's literally nothing extra on it that I've purchased that you wouldn't get from having it initially when you start. So here's what you want to do. Down here below, you're going to see all these different options that you do have. This cargo rack. Sell it. Get rid of this cargo rack. You're like, well, wait a minute, I can't carry anything then. You don't need to carry anything right now. You need to get the heck out of Dodge. You need to get to a safe place to go build up. Now, what you are going to have is this basic discovery scanner. We'll get into that in just a little bit. So you'll be able to make some money on your way as you're heading towards your new destination. So now you're going to select buy and equip. There's a fuel scoop. This is a nice cheap one. You can get this one. Make sure that there's not a better one available. Now, I'm saying all this. The initial place you start out, I don't even believe it has outfitting. You are going to have to go to the nearest larger station that has outfitting. It should be within the same system where you can just fly straight there and pick up what you need. So, quickest way to do this, name ascending, go down to the Fs, see what we have. See, here's a couple of different options. The problem is some of these are more expensive than you'll probably have. You do get a little bit of money back. Actually, no, you're not going to. My apologies. You're going to not be able to sell any of this and get any money back because the stuff that you get initially is on loan. So, yep, you're going to have to go with this fuel scoop. This will be enough to get you going, basically, is all you're really going to be able to do with this. So, now I have my fuel scoop, and I have my initial equipment right here. Literally, that's all you need to start moving. So, here's what we're going to do next. I've got all that equipment ready. We're going to go ahead and launch. Now, you're initially going to launch out of a small station, one that's not inside of anything. You're just going to be out in the open. So, that's one of the nice things they do for you in this game is you're just, hey, I'm out. I'm here. All right. So, once we detach, any second now. All right. So just fly up a little. It says cargo bay full, but there is no cargo. That's only because I turned on my cargo bay earlier when I was messing around with some of my settings. So ignore that. Go ahead and get your landing gear retracted, and then just gently fly out the letterbox. You'll see people leaving here in a big hurry. Don't speed up till you know you're good and even and there's nothing in your way, because you don't want to fly out too quick and end up a splat mark. What is that in the distance? Somebody else recently jumped. Alright. So, you'll get scanned possibly on the way out. It's just the cops making sure you're not carrying illegal goods, which, if you're following what I've said so far, you're not. Alrighty. So now, you'll see I adjusted course, and that's my location I need to jump to. Now, if you notice, down below, I'll go ahead and look down a little. There's a total set of displays up here that cover everything. You've actually got 2 on each side and 1 in the center. There are parts of each one as well. So over here on the left, this is your target information. This is telling you what it is you're currently targeting and information about it. This is me getting ready to jump, so this is where I'm about ready to jump to. To the right of that, just a little bit, you'll see a circle with an empty blue dot in there. That empty blue dot means I'm facing away from my target. So I'm going to go ahead and do a snap to real quick and push down. It'll turn solid once I get closer towards it. There we are. The blue dot is solid. When that blue dot gets inside of the plus mark, inside the cross, and it's centered, I am now pointing directly at my target. So there it is. This is where I'm going to be flying to. So that said, got a random friend request. Get some of those. We do have this in front of us. This is where we're headed. I would then speed up, and I would go ahead and do my jump. We're not going to do that quite yet. We're going to do some jumping in another video. So, in the center, just to the right of that, we have a couple more gauges. On the left-hand side, you see there's a 34% with a little fire symbol next to it. That is my heat. So, I'm at 34% heat right now. Once you clear 100, you start damaging your internal components. Don't do that. It's a bad thing. Good way to destroy yourself before the enemy gets a chance to. It's harder to do that with the default ship, but once you start getting better equipment, you'll notice you can do it. In the center, you see all those lines and sticks and things going on, different colors. Initially, everything in here is going to be a yellowish color, yellowish-orange for you. The way that the sticks work, on the far right, you see I have this one stick that is white, and it's a solid rectangle or square. I'm going to go ahead and pivot a little bit towards it so you can see I'm heading towards it now, slowly, bit by bit. And the reason it's on that long stick above the plane is because it's above me. So if I pivot back, I have to actually disengage my lock. It'll be in front of me here in a second. There it is. It's probably a wake of somebody that left. Yes, it is. So we'll go ahead and aim down a little bit. See? It's right there. Now if I go up past it, you see now it drops below the plane. So this gives you your directional radar. This lets you know who's where and what's going on. So just to the right of the radar, we have our speed gauge. Now depending on how many pips, we'll get to that in a second, you put into here, your speed actually increases. So if I put more pips into engines, you'll see my speed goes up. Now more importantly, as I change the number of pips, you see that blue gauge to the left of the speed, that is going up and down as well. This blue is your optimal turn radius. So right here, this is the perfect speed I need in order to pivot the best. So you see how quickly I'm turning now? Now, if I drop that lower, then you notice that I turn a lot slower. I'm a lot more sluggish. If I stop, it's really sluggish. See that? So inside of this blue, though, there's a lot of maneuverability. So you see this is a pretty decent turn. It's not too quick, not too bad. But as you speed up, it actually slows down a little bit on your turn radius because of how fast you're going. So if you're trying to catch up with somebody, I recommend being on the low end of that blue. So somebody's running away from you, you're trying to pivot to catch them, you want to be on the low end of the blue. Or you're trying to get away from somebody else, You probably want to be a little bit higher in that blue. That way you have a little bit more speed. And then once you level out to where you want to go, push your speed all the way in so you can get a lot faster boost to get away. Now, where you see this line going up and down, that's my throttle. That's what it's currently set at. That is not my speed. The speed is the filled area. So just because I'm at full throttle and pivoting back, let's say I pull back, see how it's not quite there yet? It's keeping this filled area in the blue is what matters. It doesn't matter where my throttle is. It matters where the actual filled section is. Might be easier if I pivot this way. There we are. So, as you can see, I'm still keeping that speed for turn despite where my throttle's at. Now, I'll get into some more advanced maneuvering on that in a different video, but that's just some of the quick basics as far as, maneuverability and all of those wonderful things. So, we want to hurry up and get over here. We're going to maneuver towards our target. You lock in, you engage your frame shift drive. Again, I'm going to have the button links down below.
Frame shift drive
charging. Now, this is saying it's charging. If you get an error message saying you're mass locked, look down in here on the right. On the far right, it says fuel. It says how much you're consuming at the rate. Mass locked. It's currently clear. If there was a blue dot in there, that means you're too close to a large object, either the station or a planet or something similar, where you're not able to jump. You need to get away from whatever that is before it'll let you jump. Landing gear, cargo scoop, those are pretty self-explanatory. If they're down, then you can't jump. You have to retract those. If you have your weapons out, it won't let you jump then either. So I'll go to jump. It says I can't. I have my stuff deployed. I have to put it back. So get familiar with that key binding as well. One of the things I do recommend for new players, remove the firing automatically deploys your weapon. You want it to be an actual button. Here's why. If you accidentally fire your weapons from hitting your mouse or keyboard or whatever it is you're shooting with, you could accidentally shoot in a station or accidentally shoot an area you don't intend to shoot, thereby getting you a fine and possibly getting you killed. If you accidentally shoot in the station will blow you up so quick you won't even know what happened. So be careful about that. I did that a couple of times when I first started playing because I did not have it mapped separately. I didn't have it set for only deploying and retracting on a specific button press. So highly recommend that for people. I'll go ahead and cover your ship icon over here. So you have your outer blue rings. That's your shield and shield strength. As those rings get damaged, you'll see that they slowly turn red. When they're a dark red, they're gone. So if all of those rings disappear, then you're now worrying about your hull getting damaged in your systems. So that's what the 100% down below there is. That's kind of a general health for everything in your systems, including the hull strength. So just to the right of that a little bit, these are the pips I was just talking about. You can see as I adjust them, different things happen. In particular, you can see as I take points out of engine, ENG, it lowers my overall max speed. As I put points in, you see the max speed goes up, and it gives me more maneuverability to work with. So systems, SYS, this is basically your shields. So the more pips you have in shields, the stronger your shields are, and the quicker they recharge. Keep that in mind. Engine, straightforward, it gets you your speed. Weapons. Weapons not only affects the ability for your weapons to recharge, but also affects their ability to hold current capacity as they fire. If you're using energy-based weapons, this pulls directly from weapons. If you're using mechanical ones, it still pulls from weapons, just not as quickly. We'll do another video on that at a separate time as well. So that's it for the basics. Once you find that target, you get your jump, go ahead and do your jump. When you do your first jump, don't be surprised what happens when you pop out the other side. You are going to point directly at a sun. Here's why. They use a lot of physics-based for this game. The targeting, when I'm targeting for this jump, I'll wait till this jump actually starts so it'll be easier to hear me. There we are. I'm not targeting the general system. I'm targeting the largest celestial body in that system. That's the sun. So I'm aiming directly at the sun, so it's going to drop me directly at the sun. I recommend, once you start your jump, immediately pull back completely on your throttle. Like the entire time I was in witch space is what they call that. Side note, you see how it says I discovered one new astronomical object? We'll get to that in 1 second. So now, I'm all the way throttled back. The second I stopped, I'm good. I don't have to worry about running into the sun. You're not fully stopped, but you're pretty close to stop for Super Cruise. So it says I discovered a new object. I've never actually been in this particular area. That's one of the reasons I selected in that general vicinity. Now, if you look over here on your right, you're going to see that you have all your different items and statuses and modules. Go over here to fire groups. What you want to do is you want to make your basic discovery scanner, make that number 2. So now, if you look on the left-hand side here, see how it says D scanner? That's my discovery scanner. It's now mapped. So I currently have the sun in front of me. It says unexplored in a very hard to read font with the actual sun. I press and hold fire group 2 button. You hear an awesome noise. So it tells me it found another astronomical object. So what you want to do is you want to hit your target ahead button. Now you'll see on the bottom left here, it says scanning. You hear a little noise in the background. It gets a little higher pitch and then there'll be a ping. There it is. I've now discovered this object. This is astronomical data. This is data you can sell somewhere else and make some quick money. This is part of how you're going to pay for some of your stuff when you get to your new location. So, that said, I've now got this. Now it said I found one more object. So we're going to go ahead and look over here to our left. You see how it says unexplored? This is the other object it found in the area. If I select it and lock destination. Now, remember my blue dot down there at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and pivot towards it. It's a sun. So this is a binary system. It's got 2 suns. So I'm pretty decent distance away. I can go ahead and scan this. We'll wait just a little bit. It'll go ahead and finish. Ping. There's another one. Now I have 2 points of data I can now sell. So again, just collecting a little bit of money to help move along with my progression to the next area. So there's one more thing I'm going to show you guys in this video, and that is going to be how to skim fuel. You'll see a lot of different options and a lot of different ways people talk about doing this. What I recommend, get it so that just this little sliver of whatever sun you're aiming at is in your screen, and gently go forward. You see I've got just a little bit of speed there. So what I do is I gently speed up until I see that I'm not gaining fuel anymore. So I'm still scooping. All right, now I'm going to stop right about here. So it's about 14 or so you're probably going to want to stop for this. Now, you'll notice I'm shaking a lot and my temperature's going up a little. It's because I'm too close to the sun. So we're going to pull back just a little bit and go forward just a little. Now, the second I see my temperature drop 1%, I'm going to stop again. Unfortunately, this is a hot sun. Some suns are so big and so hot that you have a hard time getting that distance. So I'm still dropping temperature now. It didn't catch on. There we are. The trick is to find a nice little area where you can scoop, but it's not really raising your temperature. So I think we're right about here. So I've actually gone to a full stop. And you'll see my temperature's and there we are. It's done. My temperature's maintaining. Don't fly straight at the sun. That's a bad idea. Don't fly too high away from it. That's also a bad idea. You won't get really that good of a scoop. But you just kind of want to find this nice little lock-in point. See, I'm going up 1% at a time, but it's very slowly that it's happening. I'm now at 67 if you look down below. These two gauges do not match. The gauge up top is nice, and it's interesting to have. Ignore it. You want to look at the gauge down below. See how this says 67? This one says 66. The 67 is my true heat. They usually keep up pretty closely, but every once in a while you get that discrepancy. That's a good way to end up dead. So be careful about that. That said, that's it, folks. There's your basics. Now, if you look over here on your left, you see how it's got this one down here with the little marker on it for navigation? This is the next item I need in order to continue my long jump I was planning. So if I were to select that, select it, lock destination, I highly recommend you get away from the sun. So I'm going to go ahead and line up my blue dot. There it is in the distance. I wait till I see my temperature start dropping significantly. Wait for the fuel scoop to disengage. There we are. See my temperature's dropping? I could safely jump now if I wanted to get to that next target. And you look over here on the right, see that nice chunk of blue gauge? That is showing how much of my fuel it's going to eat for this one jump. So that's one of the reasons I said stay with the current settings for fuel jumping. You'll hear people talk about fastest route and all this and that. Don't worry about that yet. The reason you don't want to worry about whether or not you're going the fastest route, you don't want to burn all your fuel up. There are some suns you cannot scoop off of. Be careful of that. I recommend refueling every time you make a jump, just in case that next sun you jump to, you can't fuel off of. Nothing like getting stuck out in the middle of nowhere with no fuel. So there's the first video, folks. That's all about getting out of the area, getting to a safe place, so that way you can go ahead and start your real journey in Elite. But thanks again for watching. If you need more information, I got more videos coming. This whole playlist is going to be dedicated just to the new players, and welcome. We're happy to have you guys, and hopefully you'll be able to get your feet under you and enjoy the game as much as we do.